Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you how to use the Deepfakes app that you might have heard so much about, more or less. There's quite a lot of confusion about it because there's multiple subreddits and there are multiple tutorials and whatnot, and well, there is only one video tutorial that I know of. Many has pointed out that while he was very thorough and he had a lot of knowledge about the program, he wasn't very good at getting the point through in many occasions, and that's where I'm going to try to help you a little bit. My accent might be a little bit clearer, but before we start off, I want to make something very straight for you, for the person who wants to start doing these fake videos. For starters, this is a very time-consuming project, so if you're just thinking you're gonna do this in a couple of minutes, you might just turn around right now. This is a very time-consuming project that is most likely going to take you hours upon hours. You might not even get a good result in the beginning, and it might even let you down. So if you think you're gonna be able to do this in like the next 60 minutes, you might be disappointed. Secondly, you need to check if your PC has the right requirements to even go through with this. For example, if you have anything less than 4 GB of RAM, you might just turn around right now. I would recommend at the very least 8 to 16 GB to get through with this. Also, you need an NVIDIA graphics card. You can use your CPU for merging and extracting, but from what I've heard, I've never tried this myself because I have an NVIDIA card. From what I've heard, it takes hours, like hours extra, if you use your CPU. So make sure that you have a fairly modern graphics card that is an NVIDIA, and it should have, don't quote me on this, but it should have 3 to 4 GB of VRAM if I'm not mistaken. I'm using a 1080. So if you have, I don't know, maybe a 1050, 970, I'm not too sure, but you have to make sure your graphics card has the right amount of VRAM. I think that is all the pre-requirements from your hardware. I'm trying to think of something else, but I think that's a good point to start off, to check if you have the right hardware requirements to even begin doing this. So if you've done that already and you're 100% sure that you can do this, your PC can run it, and you have the right mental capacity to start doing this, let's begin. So the first thing you will need is the FakeApp, of course. It's a fairly large zip file. This is the version 1.1. There is a 2.0 version, but it hasn't been very developed at the moment. I haven't gotten my head around it just yet, so until then I recommend that you use the 1.1 version. You can probably find this on the the Deepfakes subreddit, or FakeApp, I think the other subreddit is called. Either way, you should be able to find a download. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is open it up. If you have Windows 10, you're gonna be able to open it without any external software like 7-zip or WinRAR. Let's all right, here we go. So FakeApp, this folder is going right in your system drive. So let's say you have installed your Windows 10 on the C volume. That's exactly where it's going. So you're gonna want to drag the FakeApp, not the FakeApp zip, but the folder inside of it, into your C drive, local disk, and exactly there. So you just drag it in. I've already done it here, you can see. That's how it's gonna look like. So we can close that down for now. And you're gonna want to create a new folder, a subfolder in here in the local disk that's called fakes. Inside of that fakes folder, you're gonna want to have data_A and data_B, and that should do it. In this fake folder is where all your well, let's just be straight, all your pornography, whatever. We all know you're just gonna put your favorite celebrity face on some tranny. Let's be clear about it. So if I got this right, if I remember right, data B is where your celebrity is gonna go, and data A is where your tranny or whatever porno you're gonna want to paste that upon. I don't judge, whatever fancy you. So to start this app, you're gonna want to have Java installed. So go into your favorite browser, click a new tab, search for Java. God, I'm using Bing. Java official site, and download Java. That is in Swedish. Sorry about that. So when you've installed that, you should be able to just launch the FakeApp.bat. You don't want to install. You don't want to launch the FakeApp.jar. I don't think it's gonna work. You're just gonna want to run that, and that's how the app looks like. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to turn off my Flux for better color. I'm not even sure if the recording is picking up the color scheme. Whatever. FakeApp. Here we go. So it's got 3 tabs: the extract, the train, and the convert. The extract is where you take every individual image of your celebrity or of the porn star, and they cut it out to only show the face, so the program knows every individual face to merge. Now you can do this with either the GPU or the CPU. The GPU is 10 times faster. It supports multiple faces, although I've had issues with this program skipping certain faces and certain images because of multi-faces being on. So preferably in your videos there should only be one face. Otherwise you're gonna have to go and delete every individual face that wasn't supposed to be in that folder. Say for example, if you have an interview with Cara Delevingne and the interviewer's face end up in that folder, you're gonna have to delete all the faces of the interviewer. Otherwise that's gonna merge with whatever porn star you choose to paste it upon. So you have to check the folder. There's the training tab, which is the tab you use when you have all the faces of the celebrity and all the faces of the porn star, and that's where the magic happens. You're gonna train the software to start merging the faces, shading and whatnot. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this later once we get to it. And then there's the convert tab, which is the end, I can't speak at the moment, which is the end of this tutorial, where you just end up with full images of the converted face. But before we can start on that, we have to install NVIDIA CUDA, which you can find on the internet. CUDA 8 to be more specific. I know there's version 9.1, but you have to use 8.0 or yes. So just simply Google CUDA Toolkit 8.0. Make sure you use the right operating system. Windows 10, for example. There's 8.17. You have to use the 10 if you use Windows 10, of course. Installer type, don't choose network. Alright, I chose network before. It didn't work out that well because just a struggle. So install the exe local. It's bigger, of course, but just do it. You're gonna have an easier time. So download that, install that. It's gonna take you a couple of minutes, and yeah, that's a good start. Now the second part, you need a software to extract faces from videos. Say for example, you need, I would prefer that you use about 5 to 1,000 images of the celebrity. Alright, let's take Cara Delevingne for an example. You need a lot of faces. You need faces in different lighting. You need faces in different directions, different expressions, to make it as easy for the program as possible to merge this face upon another. So to do this, you would preferably use a software to just extract individual frames from interviews, from speeches or whatnot, and you're gonna have a much easier time than downloading 5 to 1,000 images of your celebrity manually. That's gonna take you hours. That's gonna take you hours. So there are multiple softwares to do this. There are those with a GUI, a graphical user interface, that is easy and clickable, or there are more quicker and more nimble ones like FFmpeg, which is a command line software. Whichever fancy you. If you're not too much into programming, this is not too hard to set up, by the way. It's gonna just I think there's a tutorial, or you can just Google how to install FFmpeg. For the sake of not making this too complex, I'm just gonna skip over on how to install this. You can probably find a YouTube tutorial for that. If you don't fancy it, you can just install a graphical user interface, like, say for example, just Google image extractor from video or anything like that. So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna use FFmpeg. If you don't fancy it, use another software. Download and install. I've already installed, so let's skip over that to not make this tutorial 3 hours. Now we need to find a video of Cara Delevingne to extract and put into a data folder. Alright, after browsing a few YouTube videos, I finally found an interview with Cara Delevingne that I fancy, and I think it has a lot of good faces on, and which we are going to extract from her. Let's take a look at it just quickly. Preferably a high quality video, like in 1080 or 720p, to make sure, and where the faces are clearly visible. In this video, of course, she has an interviewer, so she's gonna end up in the extracted faces. We have to remove her later to not make the software confused. Lovely. We can close that down right now. Let's extract the faces. I have an already pre-made line of code to extract all the faces. Now, when you extract the faces from the celebrity, it is not important. It's not too important about the frames per second. That is only important when you extract the images from the porn video that you're going to paste it upon. But for now, I'm gonna shift right click and open the PowerShell window to start doing this. Let's paste this in, which is the code that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna give it the letter A just to know which one it is. I'm gonna extract 2 frames per second. You know what? For the sake of not having too many images to deal with right now, I'm gonna extract 0.5 frames per second. So half a frame per second. And I'm gonna extract it from a video called Cara Interview. As you can see back here. Let's roll this out, and it's gonna start extracting every other frame from the video. As you can see, it's filling up here. It's gonna be quite a lot of frames. I think it's a fairly long interview. So I'm gonna guess and assume it's gonna do. How long was this interview, by the way? It was. I'm gonna let it work in the background while we check this out. It's a 14-minute interview. So you know what? We are probably. I'm gonna let it extract about 500 frames. I don't think I'm gonna sift through the entire, because this is very time consuming. And I've got better things to do. Whoa. Alright. No, okay, it's done. 417 frames. Boom. 429 even. Let's close that down. And what we do with these frames right now is that we take every single frame, cut it out, and go into our fakes folder and go into data B. That's where it's going, and that's where we're pasting it. All these frames. Bam. Right there. What we can do right now is that we bring up our FakeApp and we extract tab, and we have to specify the path that is going to extract from, which is in this case C, fakes, the fakes folder, and data we have to do _NA. Oh, sorry, and _B, which is the exact folder that our newly created pictures lie in. It is a PNG file type. We extracted it in PNG. There are multiple faces, but I've had problems with this right now. So I'm going to say that there are not multiple faces. And we are using the GPU. So let's start that up. Gonna get a new command line window. We get a runtime error, but that's okay. It's still going to go through. You might get a runtime error as well. And we get a progress bar. It's gonna say when no faces were detected. That's where when the people are turning and twisting too much and it's just blurry. But it's processing the images. Let's take a look in the data folder. It's created a new map which is called aligned. And you can see the cutouts from every single frame. Now many of these are not good. Like for, let's say this one for example, it's very blurry and it's you can't see a clear face. So that's where we're gonna have to do some cleanup. We're gonna have to simply delete the faces which we think are not good. For this for example, it's not even Kara. Neither is this. Neither is that. But yeah, it's what you're gonna have to do. Or you could just simply download 500 images manually from Cara Delevingne. And I tell you that is quite a time-consuming project you'll have there. But it's gonna sift through all 429 images, and we'll see how it is in the end. Okay, so the extracting was done, and I sifted through the images a little bit. We currently have about 188 images of Cara Delevingne that I thought were okay. See, I missed one even. Let's delete that. So we have a few less. But anyway, you're probably gonna need a lot more than this. Let's say 3 or 4 more interviews should do it, or speeches, or whatever you fancy, where it shows the celebrity's face good. So this alone wouldn't give you a very good result. You're gonna need interviews with different lighting, with different angles, maybe different hairstyle or makeup, or whichever you think is good. Again, I would suggest you have at least 500 images by the end of the day to make sure you get a good result. Now we need to download the video you want to stitch it upon. Alright, for the sake of not getting banned by YouTube, I'm not going to use a porno, obviously. Instead, I found a video of the internet vlogger iJustine.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Justine, and today we are unboxing the new Mavic Air.
Yeah, so we're gonna pretend that is our porno. So, a thing you want to look out for when you're looking for the video you want to stitch the celebrity's face upon is, 1, the quality of the video. If you have a very high quality, let's say a 4K video or a 1080p video, which is very sharp, your face is 90% of the time gonna look very blurry upon that. So I wouldn't recommend you have a super sharp video because it is quite difficult to actually be able to get a good faked face. So if the video is super sharp, you might want to downscale it. But we're gonna take a look at the details of this video, which is pretty important because this video is shot in 29.97 frames per second. Alright, so we want to extract every single frame to make sure it's not choppy. So we're gonna extract 29.97 frames per second. We want to bring up our FFmpeg script here, and instead of 0.5 frames per second, we want to do 29 point, I think it was 97. Gonna have to double check that now. God damn it. Yeah, good. I'm not crazy. And I'm gonna give it the prefix of B, so we know that it's not the A. It's not car interview either. It is the iJustine.mp4, and that is going to start extracting every single frame. It's just a 7-second video, I think, so it shouldn't be too many frames. I think it's done already. Yup. Sweet. So we take those 112 frames and put them in the A folder. That was wrong. Let's take a look if we find the A folder. Data A. There we go. Paste it in there. Boom. So unlike the B folder, you only need one set of frames here. We don't go and download another video from iJustine and paste it in here. It should only be the porno video or whatever you're pasting it upon. So we take out the FakeApp again, and we start to extract from data A. So we paste, so we get out all the faces from iJustine. Let's do that. It's going to start. It's going to give us a runtime error again. We don't care about that. We ignore it. Let's take a look here. It's taking out all the faces. Shouldn't take too long. Alright. 112. There we go. That's done. Now at this point, we could essentially start training. I'm pretty certain we can. Trying to think of anything that I've missed. No. Alright. So we are at second step here. So the model is in the fakes model. Now something I have realized is that sometimes to make sure that this program has all the correct paths is that you have to copy the text, Control-C, delete it, and then paste it in again just to make sure it got the right path on all of these. It's just something I'm double checking because this program is very buggy. It's giving you error messages just randomly. It's something that I've realized. Batch size, I usually don't change too much stuff in this one except for nodes because I have a 1080 and the nodes points is something I usually bump up to 1024. I just double it to get a bit of a faster transcoding. But let's leave it at that for now. Anyways, don't change too much stuff here. It's not going to give you a notable difference. Processor is going to be the GPU, of course. You can use the CPU, but it's going to take you hours upon hours upon hours extra instead of using a GPU. So without further ado, let's start. Now, I already have a trained model since before, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out because it was from a different phase. So we hit the start menu. This is going to take some time to boot up. It might not even boot up on the first time, so you might have to close it down and then start it again. But we're going to wait and see. I am staying ever so hopeful, using GPU for processing. And there we go, it's going to start up. Might give you an error message for you. Then I'd suggest to just close it down and start it again. But of course it's using my GPU right now. It's gonna give me a second window very soon, which is gonna show the previews any second now. This tutorial is taking quite a bit. What a lovely day. I was hoping I would be able to do this without another pause, but it seems like I have no other choice than to pause it. Be right back. My ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. It seems like I forgot a simple step that we're gonna do in the fakes folder, you know, next to data A and data B. We're gonna create a third folder called model. That's why it didn't boot up. So we're gonna go back to our local disk C, go into where the FakeApp is installed. You know, that FakeApp bat and FakeApp jar. We're gonna go into the model folder right here. And we're gonna copy all these 3 files. It should only be 3. Copy them. Go back to our fakes folder and go into our newly create model folder and paste those there. With these 3 files, we should have a fresh model, and the FakeApp should have something to work with. Now, with that being done, let's start the training, and we'll see if it's able to do it this time. I shut off my fancy background software, so it might not be exhausted. We'll see if it's gonna do it this time. Hopefully, having my fingers crossed right now. Using GPU for processing. It's gonna start up. Alright. Let's see if we get the preview window. Here we go. Alright. So this is the training preview window to the right. As it is going, this is a fresh model, of course, so a lot of things hasn't been worked out at the moment, but it's using 4 different rows. This is a row. It's a 3 by 6 row, I think, and 4 different rows. This side with Cara Delevingne, this side with Justine, slowly turning into Cara Delevingne as you go. And in this one, it shows the loss ratio. Now, lower numbers are better, so it's gonna gradually go down in time as you let this this thing stand on. Maybe during the night when you sleep and don't use the PC, for example, you can stop this and relaunch it at any time to pick up the progress. It's not going to be deleted if you shut this down, of course. At the moment, the loss ratio is at 0.07 for the left row, like this is where it splits, and it is at 0.07 as well on the right side. Now, to get a good result, you would probably have to have this at 0.01 or lower. So 0.01 or maybe 0.009. That's where I would stop training. Now, of course, we're not going to get a good result out of this because I only used about 200 images of Cara Delevingne. Only one interview. Only in that makeup and angles and lighting. So we will most likely not get a super good result here. As you can see, it's blurry at the moment, but it's slowly going to turn ever so slightly into looking more like Cara Delevingne. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm probably not gonna wait until a point where it's looking too much like her either. So we're gonna pretend that this has been going for 10 hours and that we finally have a very good result on these rows right here, and it's looking a lot like her. So we're gonna pause this. We put the training preview in focus to make sure it's selected, and then we press Q. Q a single time is going to shut it down, and it's gonna save it. Now this can take some time, but I'm just gonna close it down right now. I don't care if we lose some progress. It's auto-saving every X second. Now we are at the last stage and we just crossed the 30-minute mark. I'm sorry, this has been taking too long, too much of your time. This is where the magic happens. The model file, which is in your fakes folder. The data from data A, that's gonna specify that that's the porn star, or in this case it's iJustine. Seamless, you can mess around a little bit with these options. Sometimes seamless is really good, but it leads to some flickering in the result. And that's why I often turn off seamless and take a blur size of 8 and kernel size of 10. Or was it the other way around? I don't know. You have to mess around a little bit with this, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna leave everything on default. Model, the GPU of course. If you use the CPU, shame for you. This is where the magic happens. We clicked on the start button and it's gonna give us another command line interface. It's gonna take some time to start up, of course. Again, we are not gonna get a good result here. We're gonna get an absolutely terrible result. Her face is gonna be so blurry, you're not even gonna see it's Cara Delevingne. But that's because we were only training for about, what, like 3 minutes? So, granted you have this standing overnight for maybe 6-7 hours, you will get a much better result than the one we're about to get. So this has been all done now. It was really quick because it was only 112 frames of iJustine unboxing some Maverick whatever. So this folder is inside of the fakes folder in data A. It's not in aligned, but it's in the merged. It's created a new folder called merged, and this is all the frames with Cara Delevingne's face stitched on to iJustine, or at least it's supposed to be, but at the moment it is super blurry. As you can see, every individual frame has been converted. Now, something to take into account here is also the facial structure. If you're trying to paste Cara Delevingne's face over iJustine, even if you leave it overnight for, let's say, 9 hours, you might not get a super good result because iJustine's facial structure is a lot rounder than, let's say, Cara Delevingne's. So you might see a little bit of her in there, but it might not look as good because iJustine has another face structure. So you have to be very picky on what you're stitching something onto. All right, but that's done. Let's paste all these frames together into a video. So what we're gonna do is simply shift right click, open a PowerShell window here. You might want to use another software for this. There are probably many out there, but this is FFmpeg, and we're gonna take this. Seems good. It is the A output, yes. Image 2, and I'm gonna give it 1 compression just to make it a little bit good. And I'm gonna do the output. Oh, sorry, it wasn't A, it was B. There we go. And it's created a video looking like that. Very blurry, of course. Very, very blurry. But with about 7 hours of training, that would look a lot better, of course. So that is the very basics of doing it. That is the very basics. You might want to fiddle around a lot more with it, but as I said, you need at least 600 images of the celebrity. You need to make sure that the video, the porn video, has extracted every single frame, so your video don't end up being choppy. It's gonna look very unrealistic. You might want to fiddle around with the convert options like seamless to reduce flickering. that video wasn't flickering, but it was very undetailed. You will have to train for at the very least 6 hours to get a good result, I would say. If you have a good GPU, like I do, 1080, bump up the nodes from 512 to 1024. Anything else? Yes, the celebrity. That is a very important part. You need a lot of videos to extract frames from. You need to have them in different lighting, in different shading, in different makeup, in different angles and positions. And only then will you be able to get a good result. Now I'm hoping that this will be a lot easier in the future. I took a look at FakeApp 2.0. It's been simplified a lot, but I haven't gotten my head around it just yet. So when that gets updated or I get a tutorial in text form, I will give you an update in video form. But that's been all for me. I hope you have been able to follow these steps through and through, and I wish you good luck in the extracting, training, and converting to come. And look forward to your results on the deepfakes subreddit. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been all for me.